Hey guys, welcome to a ban list discussion video. Last night, Konami dropped a banger of a ban list on us. Things have changed from nearly all the meta decks, and we are here to discuss them tonight. I'm joined with Circus, Novo, PDS, and Rye. We've got a full house, all the DLE crews in here. So, what's up, guys? Ready to discuss the ban list?
Hell yeah.
Sure.
I'll do it at some point today.
Just a quick note,
Right,
we are
great.
fresh off of Battle Phase 57. It just ended.
That is right.
We're in here to come in here and tell you what we saw, how it's been affected by the ban list, so I hope you enjoy it. Where are we getting started tonight, Kamell?
So the very first thing you see when you open up the ban list are the skill rebalancing changes. So, you just want to get right into it?
Let's do it.
All right. So, just going to read the reason for the changes and then the changes. Grit. This skill will be given a harder activation condition in order to reduce the ability of offensive decks to attack without using resources for defense. And the change was Grit now limits you to special summon the turn after it procs. Yeah, so you only get one special summon on the following turn that you grit.
Yeah, that's the slowdown Luna Lights, right? Because they were just rampant on the ladder. They were killing it in tournaments, so they had to do that.
Yeah, Luna Lights, Heroes,
I'm
even
just kidding.
Thunder Dragon.
Who gives a shit about Luna Lights? Come on now.
Play that.
They wanted to stop Guardians.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is a big change to make sure OTK decks do not have something to always fall back on for not having any defense. Just the most relevant deck that I think this is going to hit is Heroes, right? Heroes run Grit almost exclusively, or they did, and now they're going to need another skill to back them up.
Yeah, I mean, in this tournament alone, you saw Heroes whenever they went second versus them going first was like night and day. Losing Grit, I personally always thought Grit just didn't belong in Duel Links. I don't see any deck really being able to use it now. When you think about decks that only normal summon, you're not really thinking OTK decks.
Mm-hmm.
So Grit's dead. Rest in peace.
Yeah, I think this is go ahead.
I was gonna say this is the second nerf on it, or is it the third? Second, right?
Second, right?
Second, yeah.
Yep.
So.
This is
the
second nerf.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, any life
I
points.
like it for the entire turn, didn't it?
It just kept kept proccing because it was like a percentage, right, or a percentage of probability for it to go off. And
I saw someone proc at 25 life points. I was like, maybe the skill's broken.
Yeah, so my takeaway from the Grit changes, this is a good change, and powerful decks should have to have a defensive plan, and Grit took away the need for that. And that's my point for Grit.
And that was just banned from the tournament entirely tonight, right?
No, you could use Grit in the tournament today.
Well,
yeah.
To make sure you only special summon once.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure people followed that.
Well, I don't think anybody actually submitted Grit at all.
Yeah, I didn't see it at all.
Better skills at this point. And Grit is just something that now you're gonna need to play Karibos. In the past you didn't need Karibos. Now you definitely need to either main or side them if you're playing that kind of strategy.
All right. Baggy sleeves.
So
yeah.
Let's take a look.
Before we get to it, it's out of here.
This skill will be given a harder activation condition as more decks are now able to summon level 5 or higher monsters multiple times since the addition of the skill. So now Baggy Sleeves only applies for level 7 or higher monsters and is once per duel. God damn, that sucks, man.
This one was banned, right? Because we didn't want to mess with this one tonight.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
mandatory. So you are forced to draw 2. So it's not, you can't even apply it.
Right, yeah, you can't.
Right.
So
the skill is completely nerfed. Instead of being, every time one dies, it's once per duel. That's just a huge nerf. It's not even usable over other skills.
So we're not going to see it ever again, huh?
I don't believe so, because when you think about the only deck that uses Baggy Sleeves in the meta, Thunder Dragons, that their biggest strength is that they can summon level 5 and 6 monsters like crazy just with from their hand. But for level 7 or higher, you got to think like Vermilion, Levineer, Thunder Dragon Duo. Those are all cards you have to use a lot of resources to get out in the first place. So
Right.
I
once
see
per
the
duel,
ladder in deities, but I'm not sure they still do that, and I'm not sure how good that it is for deities.
Now, how many times per duel was it before? Was it
And-
twice?
Yeah.
Or just you can just keep doing it.
I want to
Yeah.
say it was infinite. Yeah.
It was, I remember it was ridiculous.
Yeah. There's a lot of the older skills are like that, where it's just you could do it as many times as you want.
Well, back when you could swarming the board was summoning Hammer Shark and then lowering its level by 1 to
Oh,
bring out
yeah,
another
dude.
fish monster or whatever. Oh, he just swarmed the field.
Nah, I mean, I just think at this point, right? Like, would you rather be in a position where you lose 1,000 life points and then draw whatever monster you want, or do you just want to once per turn after losing a high level monster, you get a
Right.
pot of greed, but not really a pot of greed? It's
Yeah,
just,
you get one extra card. And that, yeah.
Right.
it's just not good anymore. And I think they realized how broken it was going to be, and they're like, all right, this can't exist anymore.
Yeah, definitely not. So, see you later, baggy sleeves. My takeaway from the change is Thunder Dragons could use this skill too well, and this is kind of future proofing the game or future proofing the skill so it doesn't become broken when they release other things that can.
Well, I'm assuming the farther we get into the game, the more high level monsters are going to be coming out. They're going to be easily summoned, and
Mhm.
Definitely, yeah.
pretty soon every turn 1 is going to be just big beaters, like 3,000 plus out on the board. I would
Yeah.
assume so. Yeah. But the next one, that's the one everybody's been bitching and complaining about.
No mortal can resist. After the Seal Tomb changes of the last nerf, no mortal can resist quickly took its place as the most dominant skill. So this skill consistently devastates graveyard-based strategies. So we are adding an activation condition, and there it comes with some pretty harsh things. Can only be used when your life points are at least 2,000 less than your opponent. Change all monsters in your opponent's graveyard to Skull Servants. This skill can only be used once per duel, and right away, the two main strengths of this skill were ripped away. The fact that you can activate it as many times as you want, and the fact that it was still only a minus 1,000 life point requirement. They took both of those things away. So yeah.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
No, it is. No Mortal Can Resist was running rampant.
Oh, it was terrible.
In fact, the first very MCS after the ban list, it absolutely dominated certain decks like Crystron's. So yeah, No Mortal, extremely impactful skill.
It's weird because it's like I don't want Konami to make skills irrelevant because that's what makes Duel Links interesting. The completely different from the TCG, how the skills even are above the cards, you can't react to them or anything.
Mhm.
I think if they just made it once per turn, that would have been good enough. But they have essentially said that almost no decks will be playing it. Actually, funny enough, Zayd King today did play it. He main decked it in Dark Lords. But decks like Dark Lords are going to be the only deck that can use it. You know, because
Yeah.
2,000, that is insane.
That's steep, man. That is steep.
I really did enjoy the skill because, especially right now in this meta, because it's really, really good against Crystron's. I was playing it.
God.
Yeah, when I got second place in the meta weekly, it was really good because you can just like standby phase Cosmic Cyclone, and then in the main phase they can't even respond to your No Mortal. So it was really good for that. But now the decks, we're gonna need a different way to beat certain decks like Crystron's.
Right. When your life point proc requirement increases to 2,000, you lose all of that value you were getting with Cosmic Cyclone. Now you're gonna have to look for an easier way to proc it. But yeah, no more can resist.
Mirror wall.
Mirror wall, yeah.
Problem is, Mirror Wall deal damage to the opponent too.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Jesus. Everyone plays Lotus now.
No, you just activate it in your end phase, right? Or their end phase.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Like,
I mean, the problem is, like, you have to get the timing perfect, and then it's only once per duel now. It's just, no one's.
Yeah, it's not worth it anymore.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna need to. So this is another thing like Grit, where now you're gonna actually have to Where before, you could rely on the skill and you didn't actually need to draw your side deck card, but now you're gonna need to draw into your side deck card, like Sphere Karibo, or I don't know, something crazy like Soul Release. You need something that
anything
can
to
actually
shut off the
interact with the
graveyard.
opponent. Yeah.
Well,
I think people are just gonna. What's that, guy?
Oh, I was gonna say, I think Konami wants the skills to just basically make it so you can make an anime situation within the game, right?
Right.
And then as players, we turn it into a broken deck, and then they're like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! You're supposed to be
That's not what I
recreating
said.
episode, season 1, episode 5 with this skill, not running rampant on the ladder."
Well, definitely, no mortal can resist. It's kind of like it's kind of teetering back and forth, right? Remember, we said that Sealed Tombs was kind of a necessary evil before, but we wanted it nerfed so bad, and now no mortal can resist. We kind of thought it was going to be a necessary evil, but it quickly became very annoying. So I think this skill got a much needed hit, and I'm excited to see how those decks fare without it. A lot of decks were using it very, very much.
And just from the tournament we just finished hosting, Battle Phase 57, we saw that a lot of the Ritual Beasts this past weekend in the MCS were running No Mortal, and most of them have switched to actually back to Sealed Tombs because it's only 1,000 life points, so they're still getting
yeah.
So now everyone's just gone back. Yeah.
There is also kind of an annoying situation where Dark Magicians play Curtain and then turn 1 Sealed Tomb you. That might irritate some people, but we'll have to see.
Or No Mortal, you mean? They No Mortal, you.
No, Sealed Tomb. Like
they can do both now.
Yeah, they could do both.
They could do both.
Great.
Yeah.
All
right.
So next skill, Transcendent Crystals. This skill will be given a harder activation condition as more cards that can be activated in the graveyard have been added to the game since the addition of the skill. So Transcendent Crystals says can be used from turn 3 or onward by sending 1 to 3 cards from your hand to the graveyard. Choose the same number of Crystal Beast monsters from your deck. That's the number of cards you send from your hand to the graveyard and place them in your spell and trap zones. The skill can only be used once per turn and twice per duel. So the only use this skill had was in Cristrons. You pitch your Crystron Thrisvern from your hand to the deck, or your Solfefnir, and you put a Crystal Beast monster in your spell and trap card zone for one of your later Cristrons to pop for their effect. Now, this is a hit to Cristrons. However, Cristrons have already found a better or equally better way to play the deck, and that is with SSA. And the hit to Transcendent Crystals, making it be used from turn 3 or onward, it's pretty crazy because usually that is your turn 1 play with Cristrons, right? Sending up your Transcendent Crystals to start your Crystron effects.
I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't really matter, I don't think, with this skill, because a lot of times you can just do a turn 1 play without it. I mean, it's not optimal, but you can still do it. So, I mean, I feel like this is barely a hit to the deck. Barely.
I feel like go ahead.
I would have just said make it so you must run 5 or more Crystal Beasts in your deck with different names.
There
Bam.
you go. That would kill it. Because yeah, I mean, still going into your second turn, turn 3 or whatever, you can still pull off that combo. Then I mean, I don't think it slows down the deck barely any.
What this change does is it so now instead of like Kamell was saying, you send this Thrisvern to the graveyard to banish it and then get a card. Now you're actually gonna need to summon it onto the field, activate its effects, and then let it get. So now you're falling more victim to something like Fiendish Chain or Forbidden Chalice. You can't really play around those cards now. Yeah,
you're not hiding behind your skill anymore, giving you that window of invincibility.
Yeah, exactly.
I just think compared to other skill nerfs, this one isn't as devastating.
Oh yeah, no, I mean the deck is still playable, but
definitely.
And this is another deck in the battle phase. We saw Wayne still playing Transcendent Crystals, only using it on turn 3, of course. But after the tournament, he said that he ended up actually just, like turn 1, he wouldn't be able to use it, and then turn 2, on his next turn, he would draw the Crystal Beast, so he still wouldn't be able to use it.
Right.
Because he had nothing.
He basically played it skillless, and was still fine.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my point. I don't think this really hurts that version of the deck very much.
All
It
right,
also
so
doesn't help that probably the best version of Chris runs right now is probably the Sea Stealth, just because of
Right.
like
yeah,
the sheer new impact too. So
Yep.
it's kind of whatever.
And the no mortal hit is gonna help out that sea stealth even more.
Right.
for sure.
Yep.
so a little they a little too late on the Crystron hit. They've already found a more effective strategy. The Transcendent Crystals pretty much, it's like Circus said, it's an anime nerf. You know, they're like, come on, that's not a Crystal Beast deck. What are you doing?
That's not a Jesse voice.
Well, if you just went in like me and just bought Crystrons and you're playing Transcendent Crystal version because you can't afford the SSA version, you're still fine. You're still fine.
Yeah, you're still fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. You'll be fine. You'll still you'll clean up on the ladder. Maybe you'll make top 32 in battle phase. I don't know. You gotta try. You gotta try.
Maybe. All right, so our next skill is Heavy Starter. This skill's probability will be lowered as it currently allows players to get certain cards in their starting hand too easily. Now, if you guys don't remember, during the last ban list, a bunch of the probability skills got nerfed. My Monster Cards, Spell Specialist, I forget the other one, but Heavy Starter was the only one who did not receive that probability nerf because they were the recipients of a shadow buff, and then those other skills got their shadow buff removed, but not Heavy Starter. And Heavy Starter has been running amok in Blackwing decks, making them super consistent. So now Heavy Starter is going to get that same nerf that Spell Specialist and My Monster Cards did.
And like Trap Layer, I guess.
Trap Layer. There you go, Novo. Thank you.
I
That's
think
the
some of the
third
skills were straight up broken before they buffed them because they didn't work.
one. Yeah, but now I guess they found the sweet spot for them.
Bro.
I believe.
Honestly, I think they just forgot about Heavy Starter.
You think they forgot?
I really think they just forgot. We're like, whoops.
But they remembered Trap Layer instead?
Yeah, dude.
What?
Well, they were making a list of skills to nerf, and they just forgot to put it on the list. And they're like, just go with the list you have. Just go with the list.
Oh
I
my
think
god.
the Heavy Starter was also different than the other skills too.
Yeah. Honestly, I think, again, Blackwings have found something else. Necro Valley is really strong right now. The Pixie Dragons, the Ancient Fairy Dragons, that's the most common build. I don't think it'll be that meta impacting.
Yeah, this was just a skill used to make Blackwings more consistent, and to be honest, they've already found a better skill using the peak performance engine with Ancient Fairy Dragon to get out Necro Valley. We saw that a lot today in the tournament as Blackwings went untouched pretty much. This is their only hit, you could say, and they've already found a better skill, so not too much there. Heavy Starter being put back in line with the other probability skills. Right, so
Fusion time? Do we care about fusion time?
Fusion
I actually do. I love that skill.
Okay, all right.
Fusion time. This skill will be strengthened to give elemental hero decks more strategic options, and its changes can be used when your life points decrease by 1,000. Return one card from your hand to your deck, and add polymerization to your hand from outside of your deck. Then you can add one level 4 or lower elemental hero normal monster to your hand from your graveyard. This skill can only be used once per duel. Damn, what elemental hero level 4 normal monster are you playing?
So
PDS, you gotta tell me.
I've been trying to King of Games with actually a Fusion Time hero deck. I'm playing Gemini Heroes. So what I've been doing is I've been summoning Neos Alias, Gemini Spark, pop their circle, and then what I do is I Fusion Time, I get back my Neos Alias, and then I get a poly to my hand. It's pretty cheesy, but it
My
works.
brain expanded, dude.
Yeah,
Anime
I'm
skill,
I'm pretty happy that now it's because at the moment it's 1,500.
Okay.
So now they put it to 1,000, so I get it off of 1 CC now.
And instead of being once per turn, however, it's now once per duel.
Oh.
It would have been broken in that Clayman deck or whatever.
The Clay Charge deck.
And I think the one we can totally skip is that Cyber Commander one. I don't think that is.
Deck
Oh, come on. How dare you, sir?
Commander. Dude,
I
the
think,
explanation
like,
they gave for it, we are adding an effect that lets you draw Cyber Commander Machine Dark so that players can strategically increase their monsters' attack and defense. What the heck?
the only takeaway I can get from these two skills is Konami's trying like to add like a duo effect skill type thing to the game. So it could be like a prototype, or they could just be messing around. I don't know.
Look, no, Konami is pushing us into the new era of skills, right? In the anime, skills do like 3 things and they screw over your opponent. So now Konami, they're saying we're ready.
I
Ready
mean,
for
it,
those
it, it could be
skills.
interesting. Like, could you imagine if they like combined Seal Tomb and No Mortal and they some wacky
God,
you know,
no.
Oh god.
combination?
You know, they just
Oh,
have one
man.
guy the intern sitting around watching episodes, and they're like,
Yeah,
"We
they
got to
just
figure
make
out how
it
to do
skill.
that in the game." You know.
Cyber Commander, whoa.
I'm not gonna
Alright.
lie. I thought about like, okay, what if I had both these skills in the same deck? That'd be busted.
Well, I think a lot of people think that, right? But it just make your deck just outrageous.
Yeah, back in the day when there was a bunch of hackers, everybody had mind scan, and then they also had their other skill. So
Yeah.
Right.
they had
yeah.
mind scan, and then they also had restart. It was pretty nice.
Terrible.
Back in the day where they accidentally send a screenshot to the mods with their showing their hand, the opponent's hand or whatever.
Oh, did I do that? Sorry. Please ignore that.
Alright, so those are our skill changes. So really quick, each of us could just go over what we thought was the most
Yep.
impactful change. And for me, I think that is the hits to No Mortal Can Resist, Baggy Sleeves, and Grit.
Yeah. The
No
first
Mortal
3.
Can Resist, truly a staple skill to the metagame. And now that it is gone from relevancy, people are going to have to find something else to play. And that is going to be the thing to look out for in the new meta. Baggy Sleeves, Thunder Dragons losing their skill. That sucks. They're going to have to find something else to play. And Grit overall for OTK decks, that's also huge. A lot of those decks are going to change drastically because they have to run defenses now. So yeah, those are my takeaways from the skill changes.
I think that's everybody's takeaway from the skill changes.
Yeah.
All right, well, if everyone agrees, then we can move right on to the cards.
I think the only thing you can really add is I'm glad that Grit's gone because OTK decks now actually have to go back to the old style of
Right.
playing Sphere. That's it.
Yep.
Rest in peace, No Mortal.
God
Some
bless.
keys. So
There's a god.
how do we want to go over the limited cards in what order?
Just top down. You want to do that?
Yep.
That's fine
Up
with
down.
me.
Okay, so let's start with the cards added to the limited one list. So we have the Synchro.
This one
First of
is a
all-
personal nerf. Oh my
This
god.
is a circus nerf.
I am
Konami was
angry,
watching.
sir.
They were watching Garbage Phase late night a couple months ago, and they were like, "Oh, this circus guy, he is a menace. Do you see what he's doing with his FTK
This
deck?"
takes away all
So-
my Fortune Lady FTK decks. Come on now.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know, Desynchro is a part of a first turn kill burn strategy in which you use Fortune Lady Water to draw 2 cards, Desynchro, and then you keep getting the draw 2 effect each time the monster is summoned. And I guess this is just a quality of life change. We're removing this from the ladder so people don't have to run into it.
It made a lot of people happy to watch me do that on stream, okay? You know how many different versions of this deck I had and how many hours I sat around like, I bet I could fit that into the win condition. Oh, I bet I could fit that into the win condition. I had like 20 different Fortune Lady FTK decks using Desynchro. Konami, I hate you.
Now it's all gone. All right, so now that Circus has vented,
Yeah.
we can move on to the next card. And this is, oh man, Cyberstein finally
Yes.
banned in the
Rip,
TCG,
click.
finally getting put on the list in Duel Links. And it is limited to 1. Cyberstein, as you guys know, is the key card in the Cyberstein control decks that just summons oppressive fusion monsters without you having a chance to play, really. We've seen a resurgence, a couple players playing it here and there, doing very well with the deck. So, yeah, Cyberstein is finally blipped up on Konami's radar, and they decided to shoot it down.
I do have a comment about Cyberstein.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that in DLM people won't go to the Ajama channel and talk about Cyberstein because it was
Except someone's Ojama King.
yeah, 'cause they won't go to the channel at all now.
Yeah, it was. I think I said this a couple of weeks ago on one of the tournaments. I said that the only decks that play Cyberstein are degenerate. Like, there's literally no strategy that's like, yeah, we're gonna play Cyberstein because it's a healthy card. Like, they always just play it
Right.
to do some cheese thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a what was it? A rank up match into Legend, and my rank up match was against Cyberstein. A guy went first, locked me out with Ojama King. I'm like, well, I guess that game's over.
Yeah,
it's
nah,
yeah.
that's the worst.
Yeah.
And the final limited to one card will be Element Saber Malo. Now, this is not the Element Saber nerf that a lot of people were hoping for. However, it does prevent an important interaction in the game, right? So, Element Saber's main way of dodging cards like Necro Valley and Lancia is by making their boss monster invoke Purgatrio from the hand. Now you can't do that anymore because you will be playing Cocytus in your extra deck, which is also limited one. So you won't be able to Malo and Alistair from the hand with your invocation to play around Lancia or Necro Valley. You're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way, play different Element Saber, and change the attribute.
No.
So yeah, that's about all this does.
Well, Ryan and PDS, you guys were calling the tournament. Did we see Element Sabers in the tournament?
We did. One was in top 4, right? Against Ritual Beast.
Yes.
But the Ritual Beast quickly dispatched him 2-0. And it's
Yeah,
I think it's not a coincidence that Ritual Beast was maining Seal Tomb.
and
we
he
didn't-
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, we didn't spectate that game because we were spectating another more hype match at the time.
Okay.
But I do believe that a lot of people are underestimating this Malo nerf. This makes them lose extremely hard to one of the most common staples in
Exactly. This is extremely important that you understand what exactly you are losing with the Malo nerf. You cannot play around the most used tech cards. We were just talking about how Blackwings can use a card like Necro Valley so efficiently. Now Element Sabers don't have a way to play around it once Necro Valley hits the field. They have to play from behind. They can't even try to come out ahead of it. Lancia as well. A lot more decks are playing Lancia in the main and siding it as well. You don't have that clapback to the Lancia play. Your turn is pretty much going to end there.
And yeah, they do. The top 4 deck. He ended up replacing Malo with Aina, the Earth Element Saber. So, but yeah, like you guys said, they do not have access to the Purgatrio play once Necro Valley or Lancia has resolved. They're gonna need something else instead.
Yeah, so those are our limited one changes. Any thoughts on those overall? My thoughts are just removing a degenerate deck.
It is insane to me.
No, they're not degenerate. They're legitimate. You just don't appreciate what they do for the game.
To me personally, it is insane to me that the deck that took Ritual Beast out of this game, Element Saber with Purgatrio, got 2-0'd by Ritual Beast.
Yeah.
So it's like full circle, they're like, miss me?
Yeah.
The only unfortunate thing is that they have not implemented unlimited ban list in PvE. So
Right.
that Dark Signer event is going to suffer
yeah.
greatly because of no desynchro.
right.
You're not getting
Especially for people who don't have a bunch of fancy cards to make a different strategy, desynchro was a big option. So I'm gonna have to figure out something else, farm experts, for that event. But yeah, Element Sabers are gonna lose some crucial engagements, so it'll make them a little bit more vulnerable. And yeah, so that is our limited one changes. Now moving on to the semi-limit changes. First one we have Magician of Dark Illusion. They say this card will be limited to prevent Dark Magician decks from using other powerful cards in conjunction with this card. So this is not the nerf people were expecting for Dark Magicians. However, it is just a semi-limit tap on the wrist, as we usually get for deck's first nerf. But yeah, what does this do for the deck?
It
They
prevents
cut
me from
one
getting
card out there.
tretched.
It actually, we saw today almost everybody took out Illusion from the deck. They just don't play it anymore. They still continue to play Too Treacherous. So
Even
I don't think it even does a lot, actually.
even before this, people were starting to drop illusion.
Yeah, in
So,
in Battle Phase 55, we had Zukarito. He played no illusion, and he made top
Mhm.
4. And he also, just no illusion. So he didn't even play it anymore at that point. So
Yeah, I gotta say, every
Uh,
deck that I looked at when I was scanning the deck list today, I only saw one that kept an Illusion Magician. Most of them had dropped them in favor of other monsters like Night End Sorcerer and Kaiku, which offer you a little more in dealing with decks directly, and then just running up those semi-limited cards, Clash, Stretch, whatever they got.
Well, if you remember when Heroes originally came out, it was kind of a fat deck, and it kept getting nerfed, and they kept stripping away the fat, right? And eventually, they got down to
Yeah.
like 6 cards that were the core, and that deck could still kick a lot of ass. And that's probably what's going to happen with Dark Magician, right? Is just going to keep stripping away, and you get down to like 6 cards that can still
maybe the problem with Dark Magician though is it's literally one broken combo with the rest being kind of like an okayish deck.
As
So
long as you
if they
can
were to
do your
touch
one broken combo, you're good.
exactly, but that's the problem. If they touch that one broken combo,
Right.
it's gonna fall a lot faster than
I
Heroes.
mean, it's
did,
irrelevant without Circle
pretty
because
much.
that's what made it good.
You're right.
So,
yeah.
so like the thing with Dark Magician 2 is I think Dark Magician is also that deck that can kind of adapt to the meta very rapidly and very quickly. And I would not be surprised if we start seeing more Seal Tomb, Dark DM. We saw a lot of Tie That Bind in the tournament. I wasn't convinced by Tie That Bind. I didn't really see it help. I think it helped like one duel out, and he lost that match. So
I'm gonna throw this out there for XGP because he's not here, but he said balance, that they're gonna go to balance. What do you guys think?
Balance could work. It's a consistent build from when I last tried it like a month ago.
I could see balance, but also they could play Seal Tombs. I mean, they can honestly, if they play Curtain, they could still play No Mortal if they really wanted to. But this hit does not actually affect the deck at all, in my opinion. It doesn't do. All it does is now they can't do, cool stuff with illusion magic, tribute off, special summon, ban it. Like it's still the same deck. It still does the circle banish. It still negates. It's just as annoying. So
they need to hit a card like Rod. The only reason they hit Rod, you'd still see the same Dark Magician. It's just everyone's going to play 2 Rod because it's core to the deck.
Mhm.
You would play 3 if you could, and then they'd lose their semi-limits. Konami thought that people would at least play 1 Dark Illusion, so they'd lose 1 semi-limit, but that's just not going to happen.
They underestimated.
Yeah, people are just gonna be like, "Nah, man, I want my 2 semi-limits. Let's go."
Yeah, give me my 2 TTH, man. That illusion's not doing shit for me most duels anyway.
Yeah, I mean, they have to hit something that Dark Mage players are going to play 2 of. They need to play 2 of.
now the helmet is on tighter. You cannot miss lethal with illusion and attack and Rod. It's always going to be Rod and a 2500 to swing in lethal. So.
All right, so the next card on the semi-limit list is Vision Hero Vion. Welcome back to the list, buddy.
Vion did nothing wrong.
This card will be limited to prevent hero decks from having access to powerful limited 2 cards. Now, heroes, they just can't catch a break, man. Vion was at 3, then he was at 1, and Celestial was at 2. Then they freed Celestial. Heroes were completely free. Now they're locking Vion back up at 2. And yeah, this is just going to prevent heroes from using the Patronade, the Treacherous, and Clash, all things we've seen them play in winning tournament deck lists over the past weeks. And I don't think this is a huge nerf. Just losing access to semi-limited cards, heroes have proven that they're a powerful deck in the meta, so they should be able to survive without it. And how did heroes fare in the tournament today?
They made it to top 4, right? I think so.
Top 4.
With some extreme luck, they could have easily lost in top 8.
Just one deck in the top 32, right? Just one hero deck?
Yeah, I believe so. I actually think them losing their semi-limits is kind of annoying. Obviously, because you can't, for example, we saw a couple of battle phases ago, Luxon pull off an amazing comeback with the power of Econ and Mass Change. He simply would have just lost that duel if we replayed it, in today's standard. same cards and everything. So I don't know. It's heroes are going to have to completely change, in my opinion. They're going to have to play more defensive, and I don't know if heroes can play more defensive because they can't make a good turn one. So
They don't have a turn one in their archetype, yeah.
yeah, so I don't know. Like they might drop to tier 3. They might drop off the tier list. I don't know.
So for me, I don't think the Vion hit is too bad. If this was the only nerf, it would be fine because there's been even in this past MCS that happened this weekend, we saw a lot of the top 8 hero players. They were only playing one semi limit, so and they were playing 21 cards. So you literally just cut the card off and you're at 20. But the problem is, the skill nerfs hurt heroes a lot more too because now you can't, you can't rely on
your hero wall.
yeah, you can't rely on grit and you cannot rely on no mortal anymore. So. With that being said, I think we might be seeing a shift towards more Blackwings over heroes because Blackwings have access to Necro Valley. They have access to the Counter Trap, Blackbird Close. Those 2 cards are devastating against Cristrons. Whereas before you did have access to the turn 1 Cosmic into No Mortal, and now you don't have it. So you're gonna struggle a lot versus Cristrons in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also Blackwings is actually available to most people, unlike
Heroes is
heroes.
not. This is not. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that this heroes not having semi limits is going to weaken them. And just like you said, Blackwings is a more readily available and more versatile kind of OTK deck. So I think it'll definitely struggle with being outclassed there.
So this is not the time to invest in heroes.
Well, you can't invest
you
if you don't have.
you need Stratos and Adoration.
Oh yeah, it's all locked away. Oh my god.
Like, and that's the thing too, right? Like it's Fiendish Chain is still one of the best background in the game. So getting that, you'll probably get Stratos anyway.
You gotta
It's
bring
not
back
give
the
it- it's not
selection
give it
box.
choice.
You just gotta wait for the RRQ,
Yeah.
right?
Yep,
With that being,
next month.
And by then,
with
it
that
won't
being
matter.
said, we're still playing heroes no matter what.
Yeah.
All right. On to our final semi-limited card change.
Oh, no.
Crystron Rion. Decks that use this card have had a consistently high winning percentage over the course of many months. Therefore, we are limiting this card to prevent the metagame becoming stale. There it is, Circus. Konami said it themselves, Crystrons are the best deck.
I don't
Yeah, they
know, man. Listen, okay, I'm a budget player. I'm playing Cristrons. I should say I'm attempting to play Cristrons. And I didn't have a powered Inzectron. So this card was basically useless on my opponent's turn. So I've learned to play the deck without it until it's my turn, and then I can go into Quarian, Gondran, that card, on my turn. But I've learned to play without it, so take it away. I'm fine.
Yeah, if you don't know, Crystron Rion has the effect it can synchro summon on your opponent's turn using monsters in your banished pile as material. So this is usually used to summon Powered Inzectron to prevent you from taking damage or dying for.
Well, it has to be a machine monster. That's the whole thing. So you can't pull out like a dolphin. Let's say you have the white aura dolphin instead. You can't summon that. It has to be a machine. And I didn't have Powered Inzectron for a long time, so this card didn't do anything for me, and I just kind of learned to play around it. So I think you can still do the level 9. So
biggest thing is that now Cristrons have lost access to enemy controller.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
That actually is a good hit, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We've actually been seeing I've seen a lot of times now. Cristrons, they'll have 2 cards in the fields or 3 cards in the fields. There's no way to get out of lethal now. If like somebody's swinging in and you have 3 monsters on the field, that's it. Like you can't econ, tribute one off, take it, and then activate Rion, go into all your sync. You can't do it anymore. Now you're gonna be a lot more vulnerable without your semi limits.
Yeah, and Cristrons lose a lot. Think about their semi limits. Clash and Econ, those are pretty powerful cards to see when you are playing Cristrons. Now you're not going to see them, but got to think if Cristrons are going to be moving to the SSA engine as their main deck type, how is Rion not being there going to affect the deck as a whole?
There are always going to be tech cards to fit into a deck, any deck, right? Pretty soon you're going to start seeing something else put in. They'll adapt. I don't think.
Well, they still.
Just looking at the tournament today, right? I saw people playing Crystron Quan instead of Crystron Rion, or people splicing their Crystrons with other decks like Thunder Dragons to subvert what they lost in this nerf.
They'll just start playing Walla D and Void Trap Hole or something. You know, they'll figure out something that synergizes well with the deck and just put that in instead.
And a lot of them are still playing Rion anyway. Like,
I'm speculating the next ban list when they put like at that they move Rigon to 3 and they put SSA to 3.
oh my
Right?
god.
Yeah, that would hurt.
Well, yeah, you're telling the future already. Save it for the next video.
I mean, they wouldn't put it. They don't put box SRs or URs at 2 or 1 unless they have to.
There you
But
go.
it's to say it's a box SR, man. It is not safe. It is not safe at all. So those are our semi-limits. And overall, I think heroes were hit the hardest here.
Yeah.
Getting their semi-limit tap on the wrist, it hurts them a lot more than the other decks. Dark Magician they're still going to operate like normal. Crystron's deck's so big, it's still going to operate like normal. But heroes, their strategy was changed drastically, and it's going to be tough for them as an OTK deck to survive, I think. So we're going to have to keep an eye out on them in the coming weeks. On the power rankings, they just finished a week on the top of the rankings, so we're going to have to see.
Yeah, I think Crystrons will do what they always do, just wash out in the top 8. So there you go.
Oh, man. So moving on to the final part of the ban list, the limited 3 changes. So the limited 3 changes, you can only have 3 of any combination of limited 3 cards in your deck at any given time. And the first card on this list is Thunder Dragon Dark.
It hoits.
This card,
It hoits.
this card will be limited along with Gold Sarcophagus to prevent Thunder Dragon decks from summoning many monsters in one turn. And this is brutal. They even mentioned the Gold Sarcophagus nerf, so
Right.
I'll read that one. I'll read that one too. Why not? This card will be limited along with Thunder Dragon Dark to prevent Thunder Dragon decks from summoning many monsters in one turn. And this is true, right? Gold Sarcophagus starts off all of your Thunder Dragon plays. You get a free banish on your Thunder Dragon. You proc their Thunder Dragon effect, and then any Thunder Dragons that you get as a result of that one, you proc their effects and use them with tuners for synchro plays. And then before you know it, you've got a board full of huge boss monsters with just these 2 cards. So yeah, this sucks. And having them both free makes you unable to run more than 3 of any combination of these cards. So 2 Dragon Dark, 1 Gold Sark, 2 Gold Sarks, 1 Dragon Dark, or 3 and 0. That's how you're gonna have to do it now for Thunder Dragon.
Not only that, a lot of the Thunder Dragon decks were also playing a Lightsworn engine, and
Yes.
Charge of the Light Brigade was also put to 3.
All right, so we can
So
bang
now-
these out pretty quickly. Let's read that one next. It's at the bottom, so we can go to that one. Charge of the Light Brigade. This card will be added to the limited 3 list as it is widely used in decks that utilize graveyard cards. And yeah, that is huge too. Most Thunder Dragon decks were running this card at 3. So now your 3 main deck cards in Thunder Dragons, you have to choose a ratio of 1 to 3 of each of them to use. So you're going to run them 1-1-1, 2-1 and 0, or how are they going to do it?
I don't think you do.
We had
Yeah.
4. We had, I think, 4 Thunder Dragon players at 172 players, and none of them made it into the top 32. They could not create a formula.
Thunder Dragons and its current iteration is dead.
Well, Ryan, didn't you
Yeah.
say they were just trying to play Thunder Dragons just without the cards? They didn't really like try anything new.
So I saw a couple of different builds. There was the Thunder Dragon Crystron,
Okay.
which just it didn't work out. There was the Grass is Greener, kind of with Lightsworn and everything like that,
Spell
which didn't work
Specialist.
out. Yeah,
Is
Spell
that it?
Specialist.
Yeah.
There was one that's basically just a 20-card version of the old deck. Didn't work
Yep.
out.
Okay.
Just nothing seemed to work, and I think the only thing that's going to work is going to be the old synchro build where you just have a bunch of plague spreaders and artifact Varja, stuff like that. And that we already know is a tier 3 deck. We already know that's not going to be like a good tier 1 deck anymore. That was tier 3, like barely. Like people like were arguing, like, is this really tier 3? I don't think so.
And that was like only tier 3, like once they got Levineer, or like maybe right before they got Levineer, they were tier 3.
Yeah. Before getting Levineer, they were like considered. People were like, okay, well, it's time to kick them off the tier list. They're just not doing anything. Then they got Levineer, and it was like, okay, now we're doing stuff. And even then, they didn't, and they never really won anything either. Before
they won a couple events here and there, nothing major. They were never dominating, despite how popular Thunder Dragons did get at one point. They were seeing a lot of representation due to Levineer, but never really made a claim on the meta, so to speak. So losing,
They were Ancient Gears.
They were Ancient Gears.
But it took forever to win something.
It's just insane to me that they got butchered this bad. Like, not a single top 32. Dragoonity got top 32. Like, come on.
Dragoonity.
I think they butchered it this badly just because they realized that they made a mistake with Levineer.
Yeah, Levineer just ruined everything.
Yeah, they introduced Levineer, and the deck just became insanely like. So now we have a problem where they have access to Charge the Light Brigade, they have access to Gold Sark, they have access to Dragonhawk, but they don't have access to Levineer. So like you can't even play the deck to its full potential. And not even only that, Levineer prevents a lot of the strategies that we're seeing doing well from playing because the card is just so oppressive because it doesn't target. So cards like Blue Eye Spirit Dragon, they can't tag out because it's gonna just, especially with these new changes, Levineer just becomes much stronger. So I guess they might have just tried to slow down on all these Levineer decks. Like Thunder Dragons were able to just summon it like crazy.
We literally saw a board today, a Crystal board with 4 cards on it. One Levineer summon later, everything's gone. It was insane. They had to activate everything because they were scared to lose it.
Yeah, that was coming out of Blue Eyes though. So there you go.
So
Thunder Dragons losing a lot here. 3 consistency cards for the deck have now been put on the chopping block. And I don't know. We have a lot of passionate Thunder Dragon players in the community. I want to see if they continue to try to make it work. But yeah, Thunder Dragons definitely, I can say it, getting hit the hardest on the list. 3 main deck cards.
We're going to go back where it's just ASAP topping. And that's it.
They also lost Baggy Sleeves and Grit.
This is true. 2 skills as well. That is major. 5 things on the ban list targeted at them. That is insane. And the final card on the limited 3 list is Shiranui Squire. Decks that use this card have had a consistently high winning percentage over the course of many months. Therefore, we're limiting this card to prevent the metagame from becoming stale. So this prevents the use of Cosmic Cyclone in Shiranui, and now Gold Sarcophagus. People were sometimes teching this into Shiranui.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's a whole lot, though, does it? I mean, does it really? I mean, you're saying Cosmic Cyclone and Gold Sark. I mean, really?
It's going to make
just Cosmic Gold Sark.
Yeah, it's going to make the Dark Magician matchup worse and the Sea Stealth Attack matchup worse.
I mean, don't you just figure out a way to Night Beam or Galaxy Cyclone or something instead? And
well, the thing is, a lot of those, like the SSA strategy, Galaxy Cyclone and Night Beam are not going to work against those things.
Because they're destroying instead of banishing, right?
Yeah, you got it. Well, no, it's not that. You have to chain to it to the effect. That's the important part.
Effect,
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is most SSA players actually flip up their SSA in the draw phase because there's no advantage to usually waiting. And also another thing, so the Dark Magician matchup was already pretty bad, but now it's even worse. So nothing too crazy there. But now they don't have access to Cosmic Cyclone. So your initial thoughts are, oh wow, so now they won't be able to abuse No Mortal, but No Mortal is already hit as well. So they were probably gonna cut Cosmic to begin with and go back to level Og.
I consider this nerf to be like breaking even for sure, Nui. I think their power level is going to be about the same to where it was. They can't get no mortal anymore, but now they're going to have to face like Necro Valleys and stuff, which is whatever. Like, yeah, sure, Nui life, whatever.
And just to add on what we saw today in the tournament, as I was looking at some decks, I saw people playing Galaxy Cyclone and Night Beam in the place of Cosmic Cyclone. So, yeah, people are already adapting.
Shiranui is against Necro. They don't have Cosmic anymore. And Galaxy Cyclone doesn't really work on Necro Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might
Here's
have
Night
to.
Beam.
They might have to go back to level 7, banish themselves. I don't know. I think they'll be
Twister.
fine. It'll be interesting.
Twister.
Yeah, Twister. Have to play Twister.
The others,
You laugh now. I predict Twister.
we actually did see Typhoon, believe it or not, the trap.
Oh
But,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Another thing
Oh,
is
God,
that
you're right.
Shiranui has access to Forbidden Lance still. So instead
Mhm.
of Cosmic Cycling, instead of using Cosmic Cyclone on the circle, you just lance the monster so it doesn't get banished by circle, for instance.
Oh, there you go.
That's nice.
Right.
And
I think it's just
What?
one of those good nerfs, right? Like it defined a weakness in a deck that was very good at playing around with its weakness. So I think it's fine.
Yeah. How did it do in the tournament today? What was the breakdown? Because usually it's
Had,
half the tournament is
believe-
Shiranui.
So we had 4 Shiranuis in the top 30.
Yeah, and just to look at the total deck breakdown, Shiranui was the second most popular deck with 17 decks.
Okay.
And 4 is amazing because Cyber Dragon was at most with 5, right? So
So
Yeah.
and yeah, only one of them was in the top 8, and it got eliminated in the top 8. So there you go.
there you go.
Damn.
But it is still capable of getting up there in tournaments.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I mean, if you have the deck, don't worry. You're still good. It's a mini box.
Now,
Relax.
the thing is, though, Shiranui is very close to just being irrelevant now. The one more good, decent nerf, and I don't know what that's
Right,
it. Like,
yeah.
I don't know what else they're supposed to do.
They're teetering on the edge, right?
Yeah.
One more nerf will
The
push
only
them
thing they
over.
could do is like a Samurai Saga, I guess, limited to 1. I think that's like the last thing they can do. Or Sun Saga, not Samurai Saga. Or I guess they need the synchros, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think the limited 3 changes are pretty well. Sure, the sheer new nerf is nice. The Thunder Dragon, that's just a massacre. I don't know what to make
Yes,
of that.
they should have. I think they should have put Dragon Dark to 2, like so they could
Yeah.
still at least play 2 Dragon Dark. But this is just like the deck is.
They just flat out said no. They said no.
Get out of here. So I
right.
don't know. The overall, my impression from this ban list is they're just kind of softening up the meta, maybe like bringing the power creep down a little bit, or the power of the meta down a little bit, so they can introduce something new maybe in the next box.
Yes, they're gonna drop a bomb on us. I guarantee
That'd
you.
be my guess. It just
Yeah.
seems like they didn't hurt anything too much, but they just brought the power level down just a little
Maybe
bit.
not in the next box. Just the mini box. Maybe the box after
Next
that.
main box or something. Yeah, something you
Yeah.
got to really spend money on. Yeah.
Like you'll still see the same exact decks. It's just they're going to be a little bit more. Like their interactions will be different. That's all. And I think it's actually going to be team related content. Team Wars, Clan Wars is going to be affected the most because now the Thunder Dragon kind of counter Thunder Dragon anchor pick is no longer here. So.
Right.
You know, is Dark Magician's going to run rampant again, or what's going to happen? You know,
I'd
we
be
don't know.
okay if we stopped having Chris draw mirrors in Team Wars. That's not boring
Oh,
to
God.
watch.
Oh, before we forget, Cyber Dragons not on the list. What's up? They're the only ones.
Cyber
that didn't
Dragon's
get-
not being identified as a threat, it seems.
I mean, it's no TK deck that gets shut down by Sphere, and as long as
Yeah.
that is always a thing, I don't think Konami will ever be in a position to be like, yeah, we need to nerf this. It's an emergency nerf.
Yeah,
And
Chris,
it was
Adjust my list, I'm fine.
one of the most played decks today. 5
Yeah.
Cyber Dragon most, and the other next played deck was only with 4 entries: Dark Magician, Invoked, and
Did they all lose to Ritual Beast and Chrystrons? I think they might.
Yeah.
have.
Probably.
Cyber Dragon struggled a lot to those. Ritual Beast for sure. Winda is just so good against it, and the Sphere Kribos also very devastating.
It sucks to get sacked by a Sidra, but it's not very. Like, you probably will not get sacked by a Sidra in a best of 3 format unless you just side deck wrong. So.
Okay.
right,
Well,
it's
you
really
lost the
rough.
coin
They,
flip.
yeah, they really lost the coin flip. That's true as well.
Yeah, that's
Their
it.
boss monster is very weak as well. 100. That definitely hurts in a meta like this.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it seems like with this nerf, even before this nerf a little bit, Ritual Beast weaseling their way back in, and now it should be a little bit
Yeah.
easier for them now that these
I-
nerfs are going.
I really do think with the Malo nerf, that's what's gonna bring Ritual Beast like surging back, dude. Like, especially if they all play Seal Tomb, it's gonna be hard for E-Saber.
And they don't even care about Necro Valley. They were always side decking that card, so now it's even better for them.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if they play Lancia, but they could play that. I don't know. The E-Sabers were keeping that deck in check like hardcore, and now they're not.
Yeah, so overall, yeah, just like Circus said, I do think they're softening up the meta. They think they've let things run rampant for far too long. So they're like just, keeping everything in line, removing semi-limited cards and multiple powerful engines in the same list where they see it. So I think this will be good, and I'm excited for new cards after this meta kind of settles.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
So
it's a good thing.
yeah. Anyone else have any closing thoughts?
Nope.
I just want to say that this list sucks. Just
It was a longer list than I thought it would be, honestly.
Yeah, a lot of cards, a lot of skills.
I don't think I would have gotten like any. Maybe Rion was the only one I would have gotten right. I think. Yeah, pretty much just Rion was the only one I would have gotten.
So-
Stein would be on my wish list, but yeah.
Out of my 5 predictions, 1.5 were correct for the ban list. So,
1.5.
I said no mortal's gonna get fixed. I mean, that's an obvious one. I said Shirinu is gonna be nerfed. They didn't really nerf it. They just kind of hit it slightly. So half a point there.
0.5.
And then my third point, I don't think Thunder Dragons would be touched. They were massacred, destroyed. I said I don't think E-Sabers will be touched. They got a slight hit. And then I said I think we're going to see more staples at 3, Floodgates, Lancia, Spheres, etc., etc., etc. I think that is eventually going to happen, but not right now. They decided not to ban list.
We're seeing it, like I think they're like putting those kind of niche staples at 3, the problem cards at the moment. So maybe, a card that's universally always played like Floodgate won't make its way on there right now. Maybe in the future. But yeah, great points. And I want everyone to keep an eye out on the tournaments this week. We just got done with Battle Phase Monday, the first streamed new ban list event. And we'll see you again for Battle Phase Friday, our next streamed new ban list event. And that is going to be freaking hype.
Completely different because this was the first ban list term, and then by Friday there's going to be at least 3 or 4, 5 other tournaments that will go on. So it'll keep getting refined every day, and by Friday it should be interesting to see what people have.
Right, and that's always exciting. We check up on the meta a couple different times in the week, and then you'll see the results in the power rankings on Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Anything else, guys? Other than that, I think we will close it down. Thank you for joining us for the ban list discussion video. As always, if you want to enter our events, find out when we go live, hit up the Discord link in the description or the Twitch link to check out our live stream. And yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe, Twitch, Twitter, Discord. Comment on something.
Right.
Tell us, what should they tell us, Rye?
Tell us what you think about the ban list.
There you
in
go.
the comments section below.
Give me your best meme deck, and I'm gonna build it on stream. Let's go.
There you go.
Nice.
Tell Rye your favorite meme deck. There you go.
All right, peace out, guys. We'll see you Friday.
Bye, YouTube.
See ya.
Yeah.